Even though their bodies have begun to rot, the salmon still stick to their original intention and insist on returning to their birthplace. During this period, they will stop eating and swim upstream at all costs because they must return to their birthplace to lay eggs before their bodies turn into a pool of rotten meat, and then they will die quietly. Welcome to Cryptic Creature. Press the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Next, their bodies will rot and disintegrate, turning into nutrients for the growth of young salmon. Young salmon will live in freshwater environments for 3 years, and when they reach adulthood, they will swim downstream into the vast ocean and live in the ocean for up to 7 years. Until their lives are about to come to an end, the genetic code of reproduction will awaken and guide them on their fateful journey home. Migration and reproduction is the wisdom of salmon to cope with the cruel natural evolution. This migratory reproduction method not only helps them grow in a safer environment when they are young, but also allows them to obtain more food when they come to the ocean as adults. As a stranger in the ocean, they are also destined to return to their hometown. This journey home requires crossing tens of thousands of kilometers. They will follow the path taken by their parents and return to the place where they were born 10 years ago. The salmon will use the Earth's magnetic field as a guide to migrate in the sea. When they swim to the mouth of the river, they will distinguish the taste of the water and enter the river after confirming that it is correct. After that, they will no longer eat and only rely on the fat stored in their bodies as energy supply. They will do their best to swim upstream. No matter how turbulent the river is or how big the waterfall is, it cannot stop their determination to return home. This is a road with no turning back, and the road is destined to be full of thorns and dangers. 28 days after embarking on the journey, their bodies began to undergo some subtle changes. Because their bodies are no longer adapted to the freshwater environment, their immune systems are gradually broken by the bacteria and microorganisms in the freshwater. The place that was initially infected by the bacteria has begun to fester, and the skin and scales have begun to fall off gradually and gradually spread to the whole body, revealing the blood-red body that is both horrible and terrifying at the bottom, and the male fish's chin has begun to turn into an extremely aggressive hook. At this stage, the salmon are closer to the state of zombies. Because they have become very fragile, their movements have begun to slow down, and they only persist by instinct. But at this point, 90% of the salmon have been eliminated. Even so, the salmon still swim upstream without hesitation, and at this time, the nearest spawning ground is more than 50 kilometers away. However, not far upstream, Zhongxiang, who has just awakened from hibernation, has been waiting here for a long time. This is the only way for the salmon to return every year. Zhongxiang remembers the experience passed down by their ancestors and comes here early to wait. This is also the first feast they look forward to after hibernation, and this feast will last for several months. Each adult Zhongxiang can eat more than 40 salmon a day, while experienced Zhongxiang are more picky. In order to quickly store fat, they do not eat fish meat, but squeeze out the more nutritious salmon roe. According to their eating habits, they have to eat hundreds of fish a day to barely fill their stomachs. Fortunately, there are a large number of salmon, enough for Zhongxiang to easily store the energy fat needed for the next hibernation. When the salmon passed through the area where the Zhongxiangs were, they went upstream like tireless machines, passing through the narrow canyon and the stream with a depth of only more than 10 centimeters. After going through numerous hardships, they finally arrived at the spawning ground. Even though they were covered in wounds at this moment, they dared not rest for a while. If they delayed for a second, they would immediately start looking for a partner to mate, and then they would choose a suitable place for spawning to lay eggs and fertilize. Salmon will only lay eggs once in their lifetime. The salmon that have completed their mission of reproduction can finally feel relieved. In order to complete this magnificent migration, they did their best. Even at the end of their lives, when their bodies begin to decay, salmon still want to leave something for their offspring. Disintegrate, they will be transformed into nutrients and returned to the forest to feed the young salmon. This is not a meaningless sacrifice. Their death brings a better start for the next generation. From the time the young salmon hatch, they don't need to worry about food, which is also the last gift their parents leave them. The life of salmon is also small when they are young, and they enter the ocean when they grow up. Until the end of their lives, they cross tens of thousands of kilometers and return to their hometown to reproduce.